I'm Barb Pitts. I live just outside Washington, D.C. in Chevy Chase, Maryland. I actually was born here. I've never lived more than about 3 miles away from where I was born and actually inherited my parents' house that we moved into when I was two after both of them were gone. So I am still living in the same house that I lived in when I was 2 years old. I am retired now. I'm 65. I used to be a corporate trainer for Bank of America, and I loved my job. They actually did layoffs, and there were a whole lot of us got laid off, but it turned out to be a blessing, and I was able to just do other things I enjoy and think about, moving someday and getting the house cleaned up, things like that. I have a dog who is the highlight and love of my life. And Buddy is like the best thing I can have around with all the things that I have been through. And he makes me feel better. He, shows love all the time. And I hope everybody has a pet that they get a blessing like that from. So I have had some form of a liver disease for over 20 years. I was first put on the transplant list 20 years ago, but they didn't have MELD. My numbers were horrible, but I felt and looked great. And then since things have gotten worse, so that I I was having really low MELD scores, but I felt terrible and was going through some of the end stage liver disease issues that you get. I had to have regular MRIs done. And so I had my 6-month MRI done. And when I saw the letter that came from the radiologist, it said something about that they had seen a lesion and completely panicked. Had to wait though almost 2 full weeks to find out what that meant. And August 7th at about 11 o'clock in the morning, I got a phone call. It's just like they say in that ad, you never forget when you hear the words, you have cancer. And my patient coordinator called to tell me that yes, the lesion was cancer. And it was just a jolt out of the blue. I never saw this coming. Never expected it. Everything had been going so smoothly all my life with my liver disease. I just didn't think something like cancer would ever be a part of it. And she went over the different options there were for me, which weren't really mine to make, but the radiologist that was going to treat it. And so he was able to look at my MRI and check everything out, and decided there was a choice of doing a chemoembolization or a radio embolization. They're called TACE and TARE, TARE and TACE. And you hear the word chemo and you go, oh my gosh. And she was like, wait, first of all, you need to understand your hair's not going to fall out. You're not going to go through months of chemo. This is a one-time shot for the chemo embolization. For the radio embolization, it's only twice they can do it because it is so intense and so powerful. And so I met with the radiologist, and he confirmed that he felt the radiation one was the best for me. And so things started moving very quickly. That was August 7th. By the next Monday, I had an appointment with my hepatologist. Then I had another, I believe I might have had an MRI done again. I had x-rays done and actually started procedures just 2 weeks later. So they don't wait around. This is, let's get you fixed, and let's get you fixed quickly. I just can't even explain what the feeling was. you get that call. It was terrifying. I live alone. I don't have children, a husband, any of that I can lean on, but I have the most wonderful friends in the world. My best friend and I have been friends since junior high, and I'm still in touch with friends of mine from elementary school that still live in this area. I have incredible neighbors, and the very first thing I did was to call on them. It was already a scary time. It was COVID time. Nobody could just run down to the house to be with me, although my best friend said, tough, I'm coming. And so, she did come, and another friend of mine, a very good friend that lives down the street, came just to be sure I wasn't alone at that point, because I was just so scared. And I told them what little bit I knew at that point, and didn't find out more things until till later. So even going in for procedures to cure the cancer, you start going, oh my gosh, please don't let me get COVID while I'm in the hospital, because you had to always have that in the back of your mind that I'm extremely careful. I joke that I make Howie Mandel look like a wimp, because I don't touch anything. I wear gloves when I go out. I'm always masked up, and I'm going to be anywhere near people. And so I had to make sure I was doing everything to protect myself all the time. This sounds kind of crazy, but there actually have been some benefits to this whole cancer thing happening. Um, First of all, anybody who is going to have to undergo taste or tear treatment, I don't want you to be freaking out and worried like I was. I didn't know anybody who could give me any information other than a doctor, or people that were in the medical profession who have never been through this and can only tell me from the medical view of it. What I discovered, I mean, I was so scared the first day. They do something called mapping. And with the mapping, what they are doing is literally planning what they're going to do 3 days later. And when they actually inject the radiation, these radiospheres. So 3 days later, I go back. This is August 27th, 2020. And I get the actual radiospheres put in. Amazingly, what the first good thing that came from this was, the next day, the the nurse called to check on me, the doctor called, and he said everything went, really well. But we discovered something else. You have a splenic artery aneurysm, which means I had an aneurysm in like the artery going to my spleen. That would have never been discovered had it not been for my cancer treatment. And aneurysms are really scary, because an aneurysm can kill you, if the blood clot moves. And so that was the first good thing that came from it. The second positive that came for me is, like I said, I've been on the transplant list for 20 years, and my MELD score is stupid low. I mean, it's just, how can I have liver disease and have such a low MELD score? And so because of the cancer, it right now, as a matter of fact, this week is shooting my number way, way up. And I get the MELD exception score now, because the cancer will never necessarily be gone in my case. I don't know if it's that way for all of them, but the only way to truly get rid of this is to give me a transplant. And so hopefully in the next 6 months, I will get my transplant, and it could be anytime. So, your new best friend becomes your cell phone, because it has to be with you at all times, so that they can get in touch with you for that. So as weird as it was, and as horrifying as you think of cancer, I can't tell you how many of my friends say, but thank God you got cancer. They found the aneurysm, and now you're going to get a liver. So there are, some good things can come, and you just have to really keep a positive outlook. I have never felt any pain. I have never known any discomfort whatsoever due to having had cancer. I would have never known if it weren't for an MRI. So it's just one of those situations. It's very different from other cancers. Okay, I am extremely involved with the American Liver Foundation, or ALF. I have been doing the liver walk for 22 years. I believe it was the first one was the year I was diagnosed. And if it wasn't the first, it was the first one we had here in DC. And it was funny because it actually happened to be right on a trail next door to my apartment building. So, wow, thank you. Could it have been any more convenient? And I have raised over $50,000 for ALF by doing this walk. It's my big thing. Everyone knows they're going to get hit up. I've jokingly said I will talk to a dog if I think it will make its owner then, give me some money for the liver walk. I have spoken at church. When I was working, we would always have a running total up on the wall. And people be like, what's that? And it's like, oh, I'm trying to raise money, for this liver walk because I have this liver disease. And then it's like, oh, here's $10, or, here's $100. It's been shocking how generous people are. I have had several people give me over $1,000, and you just go, wow. But I think part of it has been because I always told people what was going on in my life. I never hid it. And so it's one thing when somebody walks up and says, oh, hi, I'm collecting for the American Liver Foundation. Would you like to make a donation? No. Oh, hi, you know what? I was recently diagnosed with a liver disease. And so I'm trying to raise money to help, educate people, to help with new research. Would you like to donate money? You bet. And so I have always been involved with that. Since getting cancer, I'm trying to do some other things with the Liver Society, the Liver Foundation, to do things to spread things like this to people. Like I said, I had no one to give me information when I was diagnosed. And I don't want anybody else to go through that because it was way more scary that way. I will do anything I can to help get this word out and to help people understand liver disease. I was never a drinker. I have always said I've had less drinks in my life than your average college freshman has that first year. I have never done anything that would lead to a liver disease. And I'm tired of people thinking it's only alcoholics who get it. So it has become my little job to make sure I let people know it's not the case. Normal people have bad things happen as well. One thing I would definitely tell any of you who have just been diagnosed is this doesn't mean it's the end. You have no idea what's going to happen going forward. I pray you all have wonderful doctors like I do. I am very blessed with that. I am one of those people who you almost get tired of hearing it because everybody who knows me goes, you get through this. You're the strongest person I know. and defending myself, I really am stronger than a lot of people, I think. I have medical condition after medical condition. I have had MS for 35 years. I have diabetes, I have liver disease, I have liver cancer. I mean, it's just been one thing and major things throughout my life. And I just never, ever said they're going to beat me. I have always just said, I can beat this. One of the things that I did almost immediately after being diagnosed, I am religious, I'm Lutheran, and I am so happy that I have my faith that can help get me through this, because that is a huge thing for me to be able to feel that there is someone else watching out for me. And I truly believe when I get my surgery that Jesus will guide the doctor's hands and hold me, while I'm having surgery. One of the things I did was I put up these stupid little signs all over my house. Like this one says, when life gets too hard to stand, kneel. I have them everywhere. They're in almost every room, all different color, post-it notes, different ink, just things that I walk by. I have read them probably 100 times each, but I stop and read them every time. When, when life, they have this, another one I have is when you've reached the end of your rope, tie a knot in it and still hang on. And every time I walk out my door, the sign on my door says, don't give up, never give up. Surround yourself with things that give you joy like that. I love the beach. And a friend of mine has bought me so many different beach things. And pretty much right up until Christmas, my entire living room just screamed beach. It was, winter time even. It didn't matter. I had little signs up. I have flip-flop things around, just things that would make me smile. So find those things or those people or books or whatever it is that give you strength and are supporting you, and get away from the people who say, oh gosh, I'm so sorry. This isn't the end. So don't let them make you feel like it is. You need to approach this like it's just the next, obstacle put in front of me, and I can get through this just like I've gotten through everything else.